Okay, so this is chapter 10, lesson 3. We have talked about how to find the perimeter and the area of polygons, that is, shapes that have sides. We have talked about how to find the perimeter of a circle, which we call the circumference because it's special and it doesn't have sides. And today we're going to talk about how to find the area. So lucky. I just opened the drawer of my desk at home and found a stylus. Yay. All right, so finding the area of a circle. Okay. So, number 1, it says the directions say find the area of the circle. We're going to round to the nearest 10th. It's a little windy here, so a door just slammed. And we're going to use the pi key on your calculator. All right, so our first example, I know I'm finding area, so I'm going to use the formula area equals pi r squared. And squared means that we're going to take r and multiply it by itself. So that's pi times r times r. So now we have to look at the picture and decide what this given line is. And that goes from the center out. So that actually is the radius. So that has a measure of 28 inches. So this is going to be pi times 28 squared. And those are all numbers. So we're just going to punch those into your calculator. (28) squared. And that gives me 2,463.00, which just gives me 0. And remember that our label is inches, and we're going to square the inches because area gets squared. I know, fancy. All right. Now taking a look at number 2, again, we're finding area. So area equals pi r squared. We have to look to see what's given to us. That pink line goes from one side of the circle to the other through the center. That's called the diameter. The diameter is 11. We cannot plug our diameter in because we need the radius. Luckily, we know that if we wanted the radius goes from the center out and is half of the diameter. So we're going to divide 11 by 2 to get 5.5. And then we can plug that in, pi times 5.5 squared. Just type that into your calculator, pi times 5.5 squared. And that comes out to be 95.03, which just leaves that 0. Our label is feet, so we're going to do feet squared. Make sure you write the label of feet and then put the square, the exponent of squared, above the feet. Alrighty. Whoops. Now, the next ones don't have pictures. They actually tell us the radius, but it does say to find the area. So again, I'm just going to start with my area formula. Those formulas are given to you, so you don't have to worry about memorizing them. However, cherry pies are delicious, but apple pies are, I say squared. Should say apple pies are 2, but that's not right. We're going to square it. Okay? Just a way to remember your formulas. Cherry pies are delicious. Apple pies are squared. They're doubly delicious. No, they're not doubly delicious. They're squared delicious. All right, so they tell us that radius is 6.3. This one to me is even easier than the ones that are pictures because you have to know what those pictures are. I'm typing it in right now. And it comes out to 124.68. My tenths place is right after the decimal. And the number next to it tells me that I'm going to round up. This becomes 124.7. You can say millimeters squared, or another way to write it would to be write square millimeters. Your choice how you write that. Okay, this one is different because it is with a fraction, which is completely fine, but I don't want you to be scared of fractions. Always start with your formula. Area equals pi r squared. Pi times 3 1/4 squared. You have a fraction key on your calculator. So this is no big deal. And it's going to come, it's going to come out to 33.18. This is the tenths place. That 8 again tells me to round up. This is going to be 33.2 square yards. All right. This time you have descriptive words, and whenever I have words, I always like to draw the picture so I can see what's going on. A rotating sprinkler that sprays water at a radius of 11 feet is used to water a lawn. So you have a sprinkler in the middle, and then it sprinkles water in a circle. That's a terrible circle, but it has a radius of 11. So I'm going to draw the picture, and I'm also going to write R equals 11. All right, so area equals pi r squared. I'm going to do pi. My radius is 11 squared. I happen to know that 11 squared is 121, because I'm a math genius. So I'm going to do pi times 11 squared, which is 121, to get 380.13. My tenths place is here. The 3 tells me to actually stay the same. So this one is going to, this one's going to be 380.1. Ignore that. And the label was feet, so it's square feet. And remember that if you wanted to write feet squared, you could do this. But whatever you do, don't do this. 380.1 square feet. This is a giant no-no because the exponent always tells you to square what it's above. So you would be squaring this, which for some reason I can't make it do this because that's what it's above. So this is completely wrong. Oh, right. I like to show you what's wrong so that to me it's good to see what's right and what's wrong, what makes them different. All right, now in this one, we're going to find the area of a semicircle and again round to the nearest tenth. And we do like to use our pi key because it is most accurate. This time when I write the formula, I'm going to tell myself right in the very beginning that I don't want the whole circle, I want half of it. Because I personally have a tendency to forget to take half at the end. So I put it in the formula so that I don't have to stress out about that. That is a personal preference. It is absolutely correct if you do it. And then, why did I just write that twice? It is so hard for me to talk and write at the same time. Okay, so 1/2 pi times, actually the radius is given, that's 3.6 squared. So I've got a lot to type into my calculator now. 1/2 times pi times 3.6 squared. And I'm not using the fancy calculators that we have at school right now, so. And we're going to round to the nearest tenth. The tenths place is right after the decimal. 5 or above, we're going to give it a shove. This is going to equal 20.4 square meters. Number 7 is another question about a half a circle. However, it's mostly written in words. The tunnel opening is a semicircle. Find the area to the nearest tenth. It's a half. I'm going to put that right there. Because you know me, by the end of the problem, I forget to take half. So I just put it right up front there. So this one's going to be 1/2 pi. The kicker here is that this piece right here is not the radius. That goes from one side of the circle to the other. Therefore, that's the diameter. So what do we have to do to get the radius when we know the diameter? We have to divide it by 2. So that's going to be 11.5 squared. And now it's time for our major calculating. 11.5 squared gives me 207.73. 7 is in the tenths place. 3 tells me not to round. That's not 5 or above. I won't give it a shove. Feet squared. All right. Now, remember when you're doing this, you can stop and replay something or go slower. These next two are actually going to take us quite a bit of time. Okay, so this question is difficult because it has, number one, a lot of words, and it's going to ask us to do something from our past. So let's use cubs and think about circling our important numbers and then underlining our question and then boxing in any keywords that we see. Harry's Pizzeria is having a sale on medium and large pizzas. Medium pizzas are 10 inches in diameter. I'm going to box that in now because that's important. And cost $7.99. Large pizzas are 14 inches in diameter and cost $17.99. Which size pizza is the better deal? That is my question. I'm going to underline that. And it says to explain. It says, find the cost per square inch of each pizza. Okay, so if I need cost per square inch, that means I'm going to need square inches, which means I'm going to need area. So I'm going to start with the medium pizza right here. I'm going to write medium. And the medium pizza has a 10-inch diameter, right? Area equals pi r squared. If my diameter's 10, my radius is 5. This is going to be 25 pi. I get 78.5 square inches. Awesome. All right, now I'm going to do my large pizza over here. That one is 14 inches in diameter. All right, so I'm going to need the area because I need to know how many square inches. Pi r squared. If the diameter is 14, the radius must be, you got it, 7. So I'm going to do 49 times pi, which is 153.9 square inches. And look, I forgot to square the area over here. Okay, so the next part of this says how much the pizzas cost. And it wants to know the cost per square inch. Money goes on top. We're comparing money to square inch. Awesome, I can do this. The medium pizza costs $7.99 and it has 78.5 square inches. I'm going to actually write the answer below here because I'm running out of room. $7.99 divided by 78.5 comes out to be 10 cents a square inch, which if you think about a square inch, it's kind of like per bite. That's what I think anyway, for what that's worth. Okay. So now I'm going to come over here and do the $17.99 for the 153.9 square inches. Oops. I'm typing this into my calculator here. That is going to be 12 cents per square inch, which is 12 cents per bite. And so the question is, which size pizza is the better deal? I'm going to do some typing somewhere. And I'm just going to say, in this case, the medium pizza is the better deal. I don't know how to do that so that we can see it all, but I'm going to do my best. There we go. Okay, the medium pizza is the better deal. That was a heck of a lot of work. And it used something from our past, which was this whole ratio, money goes on top, comparing money. Okay. The next one, a lot of kids just like to write a word. And they're like, yep, that's what I think. But it actually, if you want to do it well, requires a lot of work, just like the one about the pizza. Which the pizza is an interesting one, but it kind of seems kind of dumb, but it's kind of interesting to think about when you're eating pizza that every bite is 10 cents. I mean, that really adds up. Anyway, if the length of the radius of a circle is doubled, how does that affect the circumference and the area? Okay, well, let me think about a circle and let me give it a radius. Never pick 2 when you're doing a trial because 2 squared is 2, but 2 squared is 4, but 2 plus 2 is also 4. So I'm going to pick something different. Anything, 3, 4, 5, but I want to make my life easy. So I'm going to go with 3. Okay. So I have a radius of 3. And it says, what if it's doubled? So over here, I'm going to do a circle with a radius of 6. All right. How does that affect the circumference? I am going to find the circumference of this circle and the circumference of this circle and see how they relate. If you remember, circumference equals pi d. And in this case, the diameter, since the radius is 3, the diameter is 6. So I get pi times 6 or 6 pi. Just remember they're commutative, so I can change them. And a lot of times we put the whole number first in front of the symbol pi. All right, so same thing here, pi d. And if the radius is 6, the diameter is 12 pi. So take a close look at this. Notice I didn't multiply it out. I could have. But if I leave it in terms of pi, I know they're both going to get multiplied by a pi. So what happened to the whole number, the coefficient there? It doubled. So what I'm going to type down here is if radius is, I can type, is doubled, circumference doubles. So if I'm making something and I double how big it is, like the hat, like a circumference of his hat, then my, distance around the bigger hat is going to be doubled as well. All right, so let's go blue here. We're going to do area. Area equals pi r squared. The radius is 3, so this is pi times 3 squared. So this is 9 pi. And again, I'm going to leave it in terms of pi so it's super easy to see. This radius is 6. 6 squared is 36. This is 36 pi. Let's take a look. This is 9 times pi. This is 36 times the same number. So what's going to happen to the area? If radius is doubled, area does what? Quadruples. And this happened to me one time when they changed out a pipe at my house, and they took a bigger pipe actually, and they cut it in half. But they charged me only half less when they really needed to charge me a quarter less. So does this come up in life a lot? Probably not, but does it come up? It does. All right, that's lesson 3, area.